Okay, I'm gonna start in a minute. I'm just trying to work out the technical kinks that is happening as I'm here live. And I am not sure why that is happening, but I think this is such an important training. I want to kind of make it available and see who it can be available to. So I am live on YouTube as opposed to the private Facebook group. So it can be available too. So I am live on YouTube as opposed to okay, that's better. I don't want any hearing myself. So here we go. Let's see if this works. I'm going to share my screen again. Which one is it? Not that one. Stop sharing. I need to share my screen again. Oh, I'm sure my screen is not sharing. Okay, just bear with me. I'm trying to share my screen and I'm trying to figure out which one. That's it. That's it. That's it right there. Okay, so my name is Joanna and I am the founder of Wounds to Scars, where at Wounds to Scars talk and write about emotional healing. I am especially passionate about connecting healing to the Word of God because I believe that there is nothing that we go through that we cannot overcome. I think I'm missing my slides is messed up a little bit. I'm trying to find my slides. So do bear with me. I think that one's it. Anyway, so I wanted to do this training because the other day somebody sent me yes, this is it. Somebody sent this to me, that sometimes holding on does more damage than letting go. And as you can see from the pictures, very graphic. When we hold on the thing that happens, and so as a result, you know, it just shows that sometimes we hold on to things in life. Sometimes we hold on to the things that cause us pain, and you know, it's difficult. But the question is, how do I let go? How do I let go, and what do I do to let go? Many people don't know what to do to let go. So I thought I'm gonna do this workshop really quickly today, a free workshop, just to show people how you can let go and some of the things that you can do when you're letting go. So as I said, I'm the founder of Wounds to Scars, and it was started in 2014. It was just born out of my idea for writing. I just love writing, and I love the area of emotional healing. I have a desire to see people change and to grow and to move them on from a place of brokenness to wholeness. And so Wounds to Scars was born. And as I said, I just started to blog and to write about what was going on. Now, as I said, to move people from a place of brokenness to wholeness and helping them to engage with the healing process. I am a wife. As I shared in the thing this morning, as I was advertising the workshop, that I do forgive me, that while I was going through my journey, that while I was in therapy, I was a busy mom and a wife, and I was working freelance, and I was training as a counselor while having practice as well. And so this was a really difficult time. This was a really stressful time emotionally and physically, which impacted the spiritual. But it's because of that journey that I know it's just so crucially important for people to walk their journey, for people to not stay in a place of brokenness, because there is so much possibilities that you can emerge from broken, you can move through, you can move on, you can heal, you can grow, you can thrive. You don't have to stay surviving. there is too much resources available for us to do that. And so as I work my way through being a homeschooling mom, I homeschooled my 3 children. At the time, I was sharing homeschool with my husband, but most of it was on me, as the woman, as the wife, as the mother. And so that difficult space of how do I make my way through this, and what are the things that I need to do to make sure that I let go of the pain, I let go of the deep sadness, I let go of the brokenness, I let go of the anger and the unforgiveness and everything. And I'm going to walk you through these step by step this afternoon, because it's really so important to let go and to not hold on and to not make our pain hold us captive, and our pain hold us in a place where it is just so hard to let go, make it hold us captive. So I bring to this area of walking in my purpose. I call it the perfect blend of personal experience and professional expertise. Now, I'm a qualified counselor. I trained and I qualified 4 years ago. I've always worked in the area of emotional healing. I worked for over 10 years in the area of emotional healing, working with people without drug and alcohol problems. And I loved what I do. I love when I see somebody walk in the door who had the courage to say, I need help, help me. And they would sit across from me as we do an assessment, and they would stay the course. They would not give up. They would stay, and we would work through what it was that was causing them to drink in excess, and to lose, some of them, everything, to lose homes and families and jobs and, self-esteem and confidence, and in a place of brokenness, and to help them move through that. And one of the joys of my job was not the 15th of the month when I used to be paid. But one of the joys of my job is to seeing that man come in unkempt, barely standing, not coherent, and in a couple of months he is standing, his clothes is clean, he is job hunting, he is signed up to do some volunteering, and he is learning life skills and taking back control of his life. That's what the beauty of my job was, to help somebody emerge from a place of brokenness to wholeness. And I'm passionate about this job because I'm passionate about seeing people free. Now, as I said, I qualified over 4 years ago as a counselor, but I worked in working in addictions for over 10 years. And then I trained students, social work students, in that environment. I have done retreats with other organizations, and I've facilitated my own retreats. One's coming up, and I'll let you know all about that. But I facilitated my own retreats, and I've worked with other people doing retreats. People hire me to do their retreats as well. I do seminars and workshops like I'm doing now, and I'm going to give you some real things that you can use, that you can help make your way back. I run a small private practice, a counseling practice. I offer face-to-face, video and telephone counseling. I love what I do, but this is part-time because my full-time job is a homeschooling mom. And as I said, my biggest joy, the job satisfaction, is to help people walk back from the journey from, sitting like that, wondering what if, when, to a place of wholeness where they have their life back and they're taking control. So I follow a simple formula because I like to say less is more. Less is more. So I have the wrong slide, I do believe. So I hinted on my journey, my experience of walking the journey. What journey did I walk? Now, I like to tell it like a story. Once upon a time, I had to walk my own journey back from broken, my own journey of healing from childhood trauma. And I know that the pain of emotional pain is as deep as physical pain. And I sometimes have arguments, and I don't anymore, with people who really struggle to understand the magnitude and the enormity and the depth of emotional pain. People who trivialize it and think that if it's something emotional, why don't you just get over it? If you pray, surely it will go away. And I say to them, if you break your leg, would you just stay home and pray about it, or would you go and get some help for it? And, of course, they can't really counter that, because you really have to get help for it. If you break your leg, you will not stay at home, pray, bandage it up, and use natural remedies, because it won't heal it. You have to go and you have to work with a doctor. He puts a splint in or whatever he does to straighten, to bring it back. I'll give an example. My mom broke her arm one day, I think I was about 10, and she was combing my hair, and the chair that she was sitting on just kind of broke, and she fell and she broke her arm. Just as simple as that. And the doctors tried to fix her arm, but they didn't do a good enough job. And so I think it was 6 to 8 weeks later, they had to break it again to make sure, and to put something alongside her wrist, just to make sure that as it healed, it would set back in the right way. And again, because they did it wrong again the second time, my mom, her hand was slightly in an awkward position, because they never fixed it back right. And that's the same thing with emotional healing. When mommy broke her arm, she didn't stay home. She didn't go, pray for me, and did nothing else. What she did was, she went to the doctor. She had to get help. She had to, it had to be looked after. And that's wisdom. That's the wise thing to do. So I had to make my way back from broken. A day when I said the clock wouldn't go back, when I was faced, I had to deal with. I couldn't put off anymore. It was pushed to the forefront, and it says, here I am, deal with me. And there was nothing I could do about it. I wish I could turn the clock back to the time before I bring this case to supervision that plummeted me in my area, my painful area that I've always avoided my whole life. And I always say, dealing with childhood trauma in your adult years, it's like having chicken pox when you're older. I've had both, and none of them is nice. I prefer the chicken pox, to be fair. But that day plunged me into 1 year of therapy, anxious thoughts. I call it my free fall year. When I felt I was hurtling through space, and I would crash. So what are some of the things that I do to make my way out of free fall? And here are some of the things that you can do. And I really want you to take note. I really want you to pay attention, because these are so important. I can't overstate it, because I work with people every day who I see fall short in these areas. And it's really absolutely important that we begin to work through these areas, that we begin to own and accept them, so we can get the help to move on. Now, here we go. Loving your wounded self is one. And I had to love myself, the broken child, the hurt child, the abused child, the young child who was full of shame. I took that shame with me in my adult years. And, I covered it with many things. I covered it with excelling in everything I do. I covered it with using all my gifts and my talents. I was doing so many things. I was with floristry. I love floristry. And I just thought, I'm going to just maximize on all my gifts and my talents. But I was hiding. I was hiding from the broken, wounded child who was extremely ashamed, didn't want anybody to see her. And I felt if I covered myself with achievements and accomplishments and doing all these things, then nobody would see her, and I didn't have to either. But that day when the clock stopped and I couldn't go back, I had to face her. I had to deal with her. I had to learn to love her, to soothe her, to comfort her, to not be ashamed of her, to, even with the shame, the brokenness, even with the memories of what it felt like when the abuse was taking place, and some of the memories after. And I'm gonna have to be open and honest here, because when we are abused, your body is designed to react based on certain stimuli. So sometimes we are ashamed when those memories come back. But I had to learn to love the 5-year-old, and I had to learn to love the 10-year-old that felt ashamed, that felt really sad and extremely broken, and wanted to stay in hiding and didn't want to come out. So how did I make it out of free fall? I learned to love myself. I learned to embrace me, every part of me. I learned to work through the shame. I had to work through the shame. I had to work through the hurt. I had to work through the brokenness. I cried for her, the child whose childhood was taken and was stopped. I cried for her. I nurtured and loved her because nobody else could do it. Nobody else could do it except me. There were times when I couldn't really articulate how I felt. I couldn't articulate what was going on, or, as supportive as my husband was and my counselor, my counselor helped give me some of the tools that I needed. But I had to learn to do it, because if I kept rejecting her over and over and over, I would have been holding on to the brokenness, and it would have been causing me more pain. So I had to learn to love and show myself sympathy. I had to learn to embrace myself with the pain and the shame and all that came with it. When the memories come, I had to feel sympathy and sadness on her behalf. Going, that was wrong. You did absolutely nothing wrong. You shouldn't have gone through that, and I'm sorry. I had to learn to do that. Look for it. So I had to I had to have empathy for my wounded child. All of this is letting go. So there's sympathy and there's empathy. The empathy is I had to walk along beside her as she made the transitions from 5 and 10-year-old to 15-year-old to 13-year-old to 15-year-old to 20 and 25. And the woman who was hiding, the woman who didn't understand, the woman who was still ashamed, the woman who didn't really want to know her, the woman who wanted to hide from her. And so I had to show empathy to myself, the things that I didn't achieve, the things that I thought I could have done. I had to go back and wonder, who would you be? If you hadn't suffered this trauma, Joanna, who would you be? What would your life be like? What would it be like if you hadn't suffered this? Would you have chosen the career that you've chosen? I didn't choose being a counselor through that process. I think those were where my gift and my talents lie. But I couldn't help but wondering, and even in that space of wondering, had to be empathetic to God of anger, to manage my emotions in that space while I was a busy mom, while I was listening to mom, I'm hungry, mom, I'm tired, mom, my foot hurts, my back needs to stretch, my hair, mom, being the busy mom and all of that while you're trying to get your head on right and get your head straight so you could deal with what was happening. And so, one of the things that enabled me to be able to show myself love and sympathy and love my wounded self, and I know this is not true for everybody, but even if this is not true for you, you're still capable of learning it now. Hear me well. You are still capable of learning it now. And I'm going to tell you how you can do that. So for me, I was able to let go of self-blame and anger and love myself and be able to empathize with myself because it was mirrored for me. Hear me well. Because it was mirrored for me. Somebody mirrored for me what it would look like when I loved myself. So who did that for me? Many people did that for me, but I want to start with my home. My home was a secure place from which I could explore the world. My parents, with the skills that they had, the tools that they had, limited though it was to some extent, they still gave us a secure place from which to explore the world from. And it was limited in many respects. Their skills were limited, but they did. Now, you might be thinking, well, I'm not from a secure home, Joanna. I don't have parents who loved and cared for me. Nobody did that. I don't have any memory of being loved in childhood. And so how would I then learn to love myself and be empathetic to my wounded self? Now, somebody would have done that. And the place that I can send you where there's absolute truth is to the Word of God. Because He said, I've graven you on the palm of my hand. And you are the apple of my eye. And if you consider the apple of your eye way in there, then there is no way that He didn't see you, that He doesn't love you. And then the next question some people ask, well, if He did love me, how come this happened to me? Now, I never tried to defend God or to speak on His behalf, but what I will say is, because it happened doesn't mean that He doesn't Doesn't mean that he wasn't there, and doesn't mean that he won't take you through the process of healing now and bring you to the place where you can stand whole and free. I know it because I asked those questions too. Where were you and why? Why me and how come? And I said, there's nothing in the Word of God that can help me until, and I never forget the day when I hear, Joanna, I am the potter. And he spoke to me in a language that I needed at the time, because what I wanted was my life to be this plain, clean, blank canvas. And he's saying it's not, but it's okay, because I am the potter. And being the potter, I can form you into a vessel that is beautiful. And I praise him. I thank him. And that's what he wants to do for you, to give you the ability to love yourself, to give you the ability to care for yourself, to give you the ability to show yourself sympathy, to give you the ability to love yourself and embrace yourself despite the shame, despite the pain, despite everything. And when you learn to love your own self, you are you are far ahead on your journey of healing. Now, another important place is forgiving. Forgiving. Now, I'm not telling you to forgive. For me, forgiveness is not an option. But I realize that everybody has to walk their own journey of forgiveness. What I'm going to tell you is that it will free you, it will give you peace, it will enable you to live a life of freedom, it will take away bitterness, it will take away anger, it will take away that thing that will rip you apart and keep you in a place of sadness. It will take all that away. Hear me out. Now, I know in terms of childhood trauma, the community is split when it comes on to forgiveness. But I just want you to hear me out for a little. Walk your journey. Don't make a decision to not do it. However, allow it. I'm going to say it this way. Forgiveness was not my focus. Unforgiveness was not my focus either. But I was focused more on healing. I was focused on getting over the pain, getting over the anguish, getting over the bitterness, getting through the sadness, getting through that darkness that engulfed me. That was my focus. I was focused more on that than I was on forgiving, because the perpetrator wasn't on my mind, wasn't on my radar. I didn't think of them until I get to the place where I was faced with forgiving or not forgiving. And I made a decision to forgive. And you know, it's freed me, and it will free you if you make that decision. So I just want to recap: loving your wounded self, showing empathy and sympathy, and forgiving you as well as forgiving the perpetrator. Now, forgiving them don't mean that they're off the hook, because we know that they have to bear fruits worthy of repentance. They have to seek their own forgiveness as well. They really do. And that's not your journey. That's nothing to do with you. You're just walking your journey at your pace and in your time. So what does it take to let go? As it says, sometimes holding on does more damage than letting go. What does it take to let go? Are you prepared to let go? Or is there still a part of it that you're thinking, no, John, I can't let go. I have to keep holding on. Don't keep holding on. Let it go. And I said let it go, and sometimes you might need to let go an inch at a time. First your thumb, and then this finger, and then this finger, and then this one, and this one, and this one. And that's what people like myself do. We will walk beside you as you relax your grip, as you let go one finger, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. And we will stay with you until you feel safe enough to go, or let them go one at a time, and let the pain go. And I'm telling you, the freedom that you'll experience when you do that, when you walk the journey safely with somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who has experience, and somebody who's trained in helping you to walk beside you. Because if you look at the hand, look at the difference between the one that is holding on and the one that is just let go, and the one that has let go. You know, there's no more bruised. There might be scars left, but the scars won't hurt. That's what we want you to achieve. We want you to be able to let go. So how do you do that? Now, how do I do that? I walk alongside people and I offer one-to-one counseling, but I also do courses because you might not be ready to walk the intensity of a one-to-one yet. And one of the thumb might be relaxing grip, might be doing a course that will help you to be able to let go altogether. And so I've created this course, The Journey Back from Broken. You know, for the people who have done it, I have had wonderful reviews from it. And I say that because I know that it's helping people, and that's why I created it, to help somebody who want to just relax their grip and to begin to think about letting go so that they can be healed. So the journey back from broken is 3 videos. It will only take about an hour and a half of your time altogether. It's 3 videos with a workbook, and you'll have, as you work through the videos and the workbook, it will bring you to a place. And here is a feedback that somebody says: freedom. They said the structure of the course, the way it's designed, the questions that are asked, the authenticity and the honesty of which, how I presented it, culminate in giving freedom. And that's what I seek to give you. In whether you work with me one-to-one, whether you read one of my ebooks, or whether you buy my courses, freedom is what I offer. What I seek to give you if you decide to walk your journey, to relax your grip and to let go one at a time. So if you buy the course today, it's only £19.99, £19.99. So I've reduced it significantly. Now this course is worth at least £97. And I've reduced it significantly to offer you this at a pace that you can afford, and that you can take one afternoon, work your way through it. And if you need more, you can always come back and I'll have more to give. What it will do is bring to your awareness in the quietness of your own home, so you can enable you to talk about things that might be difficult for you to talk about with anybody else. So you can orientate yourself to it, and you can get used to it before you move on, before you decide to make the step to get coaching or to get counseling. So that's the journey back from broken, and it's $19.99, and it's on my website, woundsthescars.com. That's woundsthescars.com /the-journey-back-broken. So that's woundsthescars.com /the-journey-back-broken. And today only, it's $19.99. So do take advantage of it today. And the minute you pay, you hit that PayPal button and pay, you'll have access to the course the minute you do that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you would have gotten something that will encourage you to love your inner self, to be empathetic to your wounded self, and to love you just and accept you just as you are. Have yourselves a wonderful afternoon. I need to